Krupar coming at you, and today I'm going to be talking about a rather sensitive subject, and that is self-harm. I'm going to be telling you my story of self-harm and how I got through it, and how I overcame the urges of self-harm. If you think you will be triggered by watching this video, please stop now. This is your trigger warning. I feel confident in sharing my story with you today, because I personally feel as if I overcame it. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. How did I start self-harm? It was my 7th grade year, and I was obsessed with a boy in school. And no, I'm not blaming him for this. It just so happened to be he rejected me, and I went to cutting. I remember that day when I got rejected, I went home, and I was just crying, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so ugly. No one will ever love me. No one will ever find me attractive. So I took it to cutting. I'm not going to say what tools I used because I know that can be triggering, but I used a common household item and I slit my wrists as well as my legs. To this day, I still have scars, and I'm not necessarily proud of them, but in a way I am proud because I overcame it. So once you cut the first time, there's like a thing in your head that's like, oh, well, it made me feel better, so I have to do it again anytime I'm depressed. And the thing is during that time I was really depressed, so self-harm for me was a release. It allowed me to express my emotions. But, as I later learned, there are a lot more healthy alternatives. Fast forward to my freshman year, it got pretty hard, and it got really bad. It got bad to the point where my wrists had ooze because I had so many infections, and my parents didn't know. I'd wear long sleeves. I played on the softball team, and I'd wear my Under Armour shirt, and no one really knew what was going on. They were like, Abigail, it's like 80 degrees outside. Why are you wearing long sleeves? And I'd be like, I'm not as hot as you guys, whatever. But obviously that was a lie, and I'm really thankful for Mr. Sharp, actually, because during my freshman year, it got to a point where, like, it hurt. If you've ever cut, you'll know that, like, when you wear a sweater, the fabric will go in your cuts, and it'll just hurt. And showers, oh my gosh, they're actually the worst. So I went to Mr. Sharp, who is my drama and English teacher. It's because I really trusted him, and I was like, hey, I've been cutting for a really long time, and this is, like, I'm terrified. I don't feel like I'm in danger. Like, I feel like I'm endangering myself, and it's not safe. So anyways, he was really supportive. He, like, told me some of his life experiences, not with self-harm, but just with struggles, and I really felt validated. And the thing is that this was one of the most scary days of my life, but he said that we had to call my parents, and that was really hard. But don't let that discourage you from asking for help, because it's honestly, it's worth it. But I will admit it was very scary. It was scary because I was with the school counselor who said, okay, I'm going to call your dad. And she put him on speakerphone and said, hi, so your daughter Abigail Krupar has been cutting herself. We figured this out today, and we just want you to know, and that she, there's a possibility she might have infections, and it's just not good. So, and it was awful because I was just crying, and I was like, I'm so sorry, Dad, And that day, I had drama practice with Mr. Sharp for the play Ashland Falls my freshman year. I remember that whole time during drama practice, I was already nervous because I was surrounded by upperclassmen, but now I'm even more nervous because I knew my mom would pick me up from school, and I know the first thing would be, I got the phone call. I know what's up. And it was really hard, but I don't want that to discourage you. And now, I'm going to tell you ways I overcame it. I know it's really hard to hear the words, just stop, because I understand it's not that easy. And for probably about like a good 3-4 years, like even a little bit last year, I would relapse and go back to cutting. So I understand that it's hard to just stop, like people say. But my recommendation is if you stop and you keep trying, the longer you go without cutting, the the less likely you'll actually feel the urge to cut. I know that sounds crazy because it probably feels like you have to cut, but you don't. An example would be last year I cut once, and I was like, I'm never cutting again. And ever since then, I've been really good, and I haven't self-harmed. It's gotten easier as the months gone on, and then all of a sudden, like, I wasn't even thinking about it anymore. Like, once you hit like month 2 of not doing it, all of a sudden it's not even a thing in your brain anymore, and you use other healthy coping mechanisms. I personally draw and paint a lot, as you probably have seen on my channel and the Walport Public Library's channel. I love art. It's a great way to express yourself and just use your emotions and into a creative outlet. So here's the thing. If you feel like you have to cut, like I know that feeling. It's like your brain is racing and you're like, I need to. And I know it's really hard to ignore. So what I like to do is use a red pen, and on my wrist, I do that. And yeah, you may be looking at it and go, Abigail, that's stupid. That's just a red mark from a Sharpie. But honestly, what it does is it tells your brain, yo, I'm bleeding. And for some weird reason, your brain connects the two, and it's like, you'll get that satisfaction that you would from cutting. So, you know, you can just get a marker from any one of your stores. I know the dollar store sells these for cheap. You don't need the best markers in the world, but it's way better to mark yourself with a pen than it is to mark yourself with a cut or a burn. And that's just the truth. So I just want to make it really clear that it's always okay to ask for help. And your issue is always valid, no matter if you think your cuts aren't bad enough or you don't think you injure yourself enough. You're always enough, and you're always worthy to get help that you need. A good way to do it, like I did, was talk to a teacher I really trusted, who's Mr. Sharp. You could talk to your parents if you're brave enough. I wasn't, so someone else had to talk to them for me, which is fine. Talk to your school counselor, maybe talk to your doctor, and they will get you the help you need. Now I can say I'm in therapy, and I've learned so many skills that don't require self-mutilation. Self-mutilation is not the answer, and now I'm stuck with scars on my body. And, like, whenever you're cutting, I know you don't think of the consequences, but so many things can go wrong, and I'm so blessed that nothing really bad ever happened to me. Like, yes, what I was doing was bad, but I thank God that I didn't have an infection so bad to where I had to go to the hospital. And I'm so glad that I didn't hit an artery, and I wouldn't be able to talk here today in front of the camera. I'm so glad that, I'm just so glad, like, nothing happened. I'm glad that when I cut myself, it never got to a point of hospitalization. And I think it's very important to know that it's okay to struggle, but you need to tell someone, because cutting and eating disorders, all those things, they thrive in secrecy and loneliness. The more you keep it into yourself, the longer and harder it will be to stop these bad coping mechanisms. Do I understand why we cut? Not really. I don't think anyone ever will, but it sucks, and you can recover and you can get better, and I'm living proof of that. Look. I am clean. I've been clean probably almost a year, and that's really amazing. And yeah, sometimes the thoughts go in my head like, oh, you should cut, but I just ignore them. And I know that's easier said than done, but I ignore them. And I talk to a therapist, I talk to a doctor, and it's really important to have a good support team in place. And the reason I wanted to make this video was because a long time ago, when I was cutting a lot, I made a video on Facebook about my self-harm journey. And at the time, I'll be honest, I wasn't really at the place where I am now. When I recorded that video, I wanted attention. And that's the truth. And I didn't really want to get better. But now that I'm in a place where I can say I am recovered and I'm never going to self-harm again, I feel confident enough to bring this video to you and tell you that you can do this. And hey, I love you guys. If you ever need to message me, you can message my Instagram at kid_crewpar. And I know I got some new subscribers that have asked me if my real name is Kid. It's not. My real name is Abigail Crewpar. I go by Kid Crewpar because I just think that's a really good persona name. And I'm 19, so technically I'm not a kid. But, so, just a little backstory of my vlogging, off topic a bit, but I would vlog randomly in school, like in high school, and I'd be like, Kid Crewpar coming at you, and I'd have my phone. And, you know, my boyfriend Jacob and my friends, they were like, just do it. Just make a channel. And I was like, nah, no one will ever watch me. And now, heck, I have over 80 subscribers, and that's amazing. So, like, hello, yes, I can do it. So, just a fun fact. And, you know, guys, I also got motivated to do this because I watch this YouTuber called Educating Shani. And she's a recovering bulimic and a recovered self-harmer, and it's just so beautiful to watch someone that's been through so much be able to conquer so much. And it motivated me to reach you guys and my small audience, and hopefully anything I said today can be helpful to you or inspire you to get help, because honestly that would make my day so much better. I love you guys.